We're good? We're live?
We're live.
We're live.
Not live. Gosh, it's not live. It's recorded.
We're recording? Okay.
We're filming.
We're filming.
Yeah,
Okay,
filming.
very good.
We're filming. We're filming.
We
Go
finally
ahead.
got it right.
Okay. You want to do it over? No, let's keep rolling.
Let's keep it rolling.
Keep rolling.
Well, we are back with Rhonda and Michael.
We need a proper introduction.
I know.
And that's
Well,
not doing it.
We'll
But
come up
you
with
know
one
who we are.
eventually.
We know who we are. We are the children of the Most High.
Yes.
We're the Denistants. All right, babe. Take it away. Head of household.
Head of household. Ho. That's H-O-H, y'all. Well, what a word we received in season today at our church online, Christian Cultural Center. Shout out to CCC in Brooklyn and our pastors, Pastor A.R. Bernard, Pastor Karen Bernard, Pastor Jamal Bernard, and his wife, Lady Rita. We got an awesome word this morning from a guest pastor, Pastor Adam Durso, who is very familiar to us. He's part of the CCC family and has been for years. And I feel that he really delivered a word in season. It was a timely word. It was a word that spoke to my heart. And apparently resonated with our congregation. And how about you there?
How about what?
The word, did it speak to you? Did it resonate with you?
I'm marinating on it. So I'm reflecting on it. So you want to jump into what the word is?
Yeah, so he titled his teaching this morning that God does his best work in a graveyard. And he referenced it from 2 Kings 13:20, where he spoke about, or where that passage speaks about some men who were some Israelites who were getting ready to bury one of their deceased comrades, and they spotted some raiders coming.
He said Israelites are burying a comrade.
One of their brothers, yeah.
I know, but
Yeah,
comrade.
why comrades is funny.
The genesis for that word,
The genesis for it.
comrade.
Is it from communism? I don't know.
Yeah, brother.
Well, that's fine.
It's just the juxtaposition of the two. An
Okay.
Israelite, and now we fast forward to burying one of their comrades.
Yeah, one of their brothers. One of their men's, one of their peoples. So anyway, as they were about to bury him, apparently it looks like they were going to put him into Elijah's tomb.
Man, why don't you just read the scripture? You want
All right, let's read the scripture.
Yeah, read the scripture.
Well, I can't. My phone's over there.
Here.
But
You
I gotta
can.
go punch it in and
Oh
all that.
Lord,
And
2 Kings.
this is gonna
get
make
it.
this video too long.
The
Okay,
videos
but
are
you know
already
what?
too long.
Yeah, let me reference the scripture. You're right.
Yeah, because you're wandering now.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So it's 2 Kings. That's
13:20.
13:20. Okay. Let me back up one. Okay, 13:20. Very good. Okay. So it reads, Elisha died and was buried. Now, Moabite raiders used to enter the country every spring. Once, while some Israelites were burying a man, suddenly they saw a band of raiders. So they threw the man's body into Elisha's tomb, and when the body touched Elisha's bones, the man came to life and stood up on his feet. All right, so that's the passage, 2 Kings 13:20. And as you heard, the context is they were burying this dude, and as they were about to bury him, they spotted some raiders, and these raiders would come through because it was fairly common at that time, Raiders of the Last Tomb or Raiders of the Last Ark, whatever that movie was called. In that time, it was common to go raiding graves, whether we were Africa, whether it was the Mideast, which is just an extension of Africa at that time, kind of like Northeast Africa, because there was no Suez Canal. So anyway, these raiders would go and dig up tombs. They would dig up graves because people, as was common in Ethiopia and Egypt, it was common to bury people with their treasures. So you were then able to exhume, whatever they call it when you dig up a grave, right? Exhume the body, go searching for treasures. And that's what they were about to do. So they spotted these raiders, they got scared, they dumped their man into Elisha's tomb, and I guess they went off to hide. And so hence the message that flowed from there. God does his best work in a graveyard. And so he went to, oh yeah, and of course the other part of the story is when the man's body touched Elisha's bones, the man came back to life. And Pastor Durso went on to preach a very powerful word as far as I was concerned, touching on many points. Where he summed it up, where he landed for me was, don't go to the grave while you still have life left in you. Don't go to the grave when there is still something left inside of you that you haven't birthed yet, something that God designed for you to give birth here on earth. Don't take it to the grave with you. He said, if you have a song in your heart, sing that song. If it's a sermon to preach, preach that sermon. If it's a business to open the business. If it's a degree to get, go and get that degree. Whatever it is that God has called you to give life here on earth, don't take it to the grave with you. And that's where he landed for me. And there were many poignant moments between where he started and where he landed, touching on many principles, many teachings that we've received over the years from Pastor Bernard and other men and women of Christian Cultural Center, and just from my own reading of the word, and then just from personal experiences that I've had this week, difficult and challenging conversations. So it all came together for me with Pastor Adam Durso's message this morning.
Okay, so I'm gonna get personal. Yeah. How those words landed for me, personally speaking, that's distracting me, babe. It was about, so the overall is like God does his best work in a graveyard. So that's one. When we've given up, when we're done, that's when God starts, right? So there's that part. The other message that he gave, and I think more leaving me with a lot of food for thought, is earlier in the same chapter. It was really about when the Israelites were experiencing a lot of, one of the kings experiencing a lot of defeat. So Israel was always, once they entered into the land of milk and honey, it was someone else's land at the time that was given to them. So it was always combat. So they were at a time when they were experiencing a lot of wars with other people. And so the king went to Elijah, the prophet, to ask for guidance and help. And so Elijah had given him a series of things to do. And so symbolic, one of the things is it's like, beat the ground, yeah? And so what I got from that is like, when we're passionate towards God, when I'm passionate and I'm fervently praying and I'm praying with expectation, I connect that with beating the ground, right? Like you're asking for God's blessing and you're not gonna let go until he blesses you or answers his prayer. And so the question was, what have we stopped beating? And so for me, how I interpreted that is, what have I stopped fervently pursuing in my prayer life or with God for a thing in my life? And so if I'm going to speak honestly and transparently, is physical healing. I have always in my life taking God at His word in terms of anything that happened to me physically. I pray, and know that it would be answered. I never accepted any kind of doctor's reports about so many things in my life. And right now, where I am physically, I am going through some tumult. I am experiencing some sciatica, some piriformis, and it's very uncomfortable. And I think I've lost some of that beating up the ground with passion, like passionately pursuing in prayer with passionately pursuing with expectation. And so for me, is what have you stopped beating? When I think of that, is I know I have I feel like just a general, like I'm not on fire for Christ as I was before. And so that's what I'm kind of marinating in my head as to what have I, not what, I know I have. How can I get back to that place? So that's what that message is for me. I know I've stopped doing that. I've stopped beating the ground with passion. And it's not right in my soul. I don't feel right in my soul. That's one of the reasons why, like, I don't want to push back the time in terms of when I attend service. Because one of the things, I've never been one of those who took a break in summer. Like, I know for me, I can't take, I have enough times when I'm not attending church, I can't say, oh, summer I'm going to be light on church. I just think, like, especially you make time, if you know a meeting is starting at 8 o'clock, I'm there at 8 o'clock. So why can't I be in service at 8?
Yeah, as we said, there were many points from where he started the message to where he landed, and you touched on one of them, one of the key ones, referencing that story. Apparently, the king, when Elijah instructed him to take the bow and to strike the ground with the bow, and I didn't read the passage directly. Did you?
It's right before. Yeah.
Okay.
So it happens. The tomb part was from I think 14 on to 20. Prior to that, that's how the chapter really started, with the king visiting Elisha as Elisha was on his deathbed.
Okay. So apparently, the king didn't beat the ground. He didn't strike the ground fervently enough, passionately enough. And maybe it was a lack of sincerity on his part. He didn't strike it enough times. And Elisha, the prophet, got upset with him. And I'm paraphrasing here, of course, but something to the effect of, had you struck the ground more times, more passionately, more sincerely, then God would have given you complete victory in that thing that you were asking for, presumably victory over his enemies, because it was common, as Kiba said, the promised land came with a bunch of problems. The first problem is that it belonged to somebody else.
Not belong. It was inhabited.
Right.
It was
many
inhabited.
peoples, actually,
yeah.
right? So it wasn't like they all said, all right, come on in, you Israelites. God told you that you should come and possess this land. Oh yeah, come on in, come and possess it.
Here's the milk, here's the honey.
No, it didn't go down like that. It was like, God told you what? If you don't get your Israeli behind out of here. And so there was war on all sides for a very long time, right? And during the reigns of many kings. But anyway, so he didn't strike the ground hard enough. And one of the questions that Pastor Dorso posed to us is, what have you stopped striking the ground for? That God has a promise that God has made to you. And at first, when he made that promise to you, you were all excited about it. Oh yeah, God. Oh yeah, that's good, God. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But you know, you got a delivery this morning, and I asked you, was it Amazon? You said no, Instacart. And immediately I thought of this message. I thought, God doesn't answer most prayers through Instacart. You know, you just ordered that thing last night or whatever it was. Yesterday, and Amazon now has like a 2-hour delivery in some places. You know, so we're accustomed to getting things almost instantly, right?
On demand, yeah.
Yeah, on demand. And you know, God says his ways are higher than his ways. His thoughts are above our thoughts. He often works counterintuitively to human understanding, right? Which makes perfect sense, because if we can predict exactly what God's going to do, how he's going to do it, when he's going to do it, then he's not God anymore, right? In a sense, right? If we can figure him out. And so no, he doesn't answer most of our prayers through Instacart. Most of our prayers get answered over time and with many trials. And it's something, you know, going back to this, what have you stopped striking the ground for?
What have you stopped striking the ground for? You.
There was nothing that instantly resonated with me in terms of I stopped striking the ground. Mm-hmm. But what I interpreted that as one of the areas is this transition, this multi-year transition that I've been making, feeling that I'm in this current business that I'm in too long compared to other businesses that I've been in. I've been in them for roughly 7 years or so. And this is the longest time that I've been in a business. And I'm feeling, I'm feeling like diminishing returns. I'm feeling like I'm in this line of business too long. And there are other things inside me that God wants to birth through me. And so I haven't stopped believing God for those things, but it's for me getting clarity for them. Like what we're doing here is an expression of a part of the vision that I have for where I want to go next. And this was very challenging for me. Like I was one of those people who was very dismissive of social media, right? In fact, you know, early on I got on Facebook pretty early. Did what I thought I needed to do on Facebook, reconnect with people, apologize to some people, and quickly found that it was a time suck for me and got off of it. And since that time, I've been fairly dismissive of social media in general, and I've gotten behind the times in that regard. And now I feel like I'm playing catch up because I've come to understand the power of social media and how it can be used as just another tool. Like all the other tools out there, it's just another tool. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just another tool. And it's a tool that gives us incredible leverage because it's a tool of instant communications where you can connect with people literally all around the world. And so, yeah, that's one of the things where I haven't, I would say, it's one of the things that I need to, an area I need to grow in. It's an area where I think I've missed some opportunities, and yeah. So that was one. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, I feel like to me, you're approaching this cerebrally, and not heart. Yeah, and not emotionally. Maybe that's what I'm not feeling. I'm feeling your responses are all away from you. It's not coming of you.
Okay, that's fair. I think part of that is, as I said to you, it didn't instantly resonate with me, that particular point about a specific item that I've stopped believing God for.
Okay,
But
so then let
maybe
me
during
ask
the
you.
course of the week, as I reflect on it, maybe the course of the next month, I don't know, maybe later today. I mean, we literally just finished service.
So you took a lot of notes.
I
So
took a
from
lot
the
of notes. So,
what is it that?
oh
what is
yeah,
it
there's
that-
many
so
points
then,
that
okay,
resonated with
so
me.
let me. What's the heart? What connected with your heart? And speak on an emotional level.
Okay, I don't always speak emotionally, but okay. So, but what connected to my heart? I'm gonna tell you was that part. This idea of going to the grave while there's still life in you, and what that means for me. Frankly, I mean, you're kind of being skeptical about what I'm saying because you don't think I'm speaking from the heart, but I am speaking from the heart.
You know what I'm thinking.
Because I saw the look that you just
What look?
gave. You were like, yeah, here he goes again, speaking from the head and not from the heart. Frankly, yeah, I have dreams, I have hopes, I have aspirations still inside of me as I approach my 55th birthday. And the message for me, man, is pursue those dreams still. Don't go to the grave with those dreams. You know, and one of those dreams that I have, you know, we're gonna experience a shared vision in that we have an upcoming trip, and it's part of our vision to explore what it might be like to have, you know, spend an extended time overseas, have a nomadic lifestyle to some degree, and it's an experiment. We're gonna test it, right, in a couple of weeks. So that's a dream, that's a hope, that's an aspiration. That's just one of many. Don't go to the grave while you still have life in you, man. I wanna live. I wanna live.
What does that mean?
Living for me means, man, when my time comes, right? Whenever it is, I don't know when. Could be tomorrow, could be 50 plus years from now. Don't know when. But I wanna know that up to that point, literally, when God calls me home, that I've lived, that I've spent my time trying to pursue my dreams. I'm spending my time in pursuit of my dreams. Bishop Bronner once said something, well, he says many things that are very powerful and memorable as far as I'm concerned. I think one of the things, if I recall, was that, and I'm referring to Bishop Dale Bronner, if anyone's interested, he said, you're not dead until you stop dreaming. He said his daddy went to the grave still with a vision in his heart for things that he wanted to do. And not just have a vision in your heart was the point, or a vision in your head, whatever. It's to be actively engaged in pursuing that vision. Like his daddy, he said, had plans to develop some plot of land or something that he was still actively engaged in. That's how I want it to be for me when the Lord calls me home. I want to be in the midst of some project, you know, so that when I'm standing before him, he can say, man, well done, good and faithful servant. Not play this videotape of, man, if you had just believed me, if you had just struck the ground a little bit more, if you had just kept pursuing that thing a little bit more. These are all the missed opportunities of your life. This is what it could all have been. No, I want him to say, man, yeah, Deniston, you did it. Dude, you did it. You did what I had in mind for you. What you were still pursuing wasn't for you to complete. Because we know that not every assignment God gives us is for us to complete. Some sow and others reap, right? So if he calls me home in the midst of sowing, that's fine. But I want to know that all the sowing he intended for me to do and all the reaping he intended for me to do, I've done it here on earth. We have this saying between us, right? Leave no blessing behind. I don't want to get to heaven and God said, man, here are all the blessings.
He did not
Did you
get
didn't
to
get,
this
dude?
trailer.
Yeah, look at all these blessings you could have enjoyed here on earth. You could have blessed your family with. You could have blessed the next generations with. You could have blessed society with. Man, it's all here because you stopped striking the ground. And Jesus said to not only ask, seek, and knock. He said, keep on asking, keep on seeking, keep on knocking. Because like we said, he doesn't answer most of our prayers through Instacart.
So where did you stop striking the ground on?
Hey, you keep going back to this question, and I'm telling you that there's not any one thing in particular, but there.
See, you just stopped striking the ground completely.
No, I didn't stop striking the ground. What we're doing here is
Striking the ground.
Is striking the ground for me, because anyone who knows me well knows that I'm a very private person. So for this idea of getting on, posting something on social media, something that I was so dismissive of because I saw it as, people just posting a lot of foolishness and nonsense. This is a big step for me. It may seem very small. I understand for most people who have stayed engaged and kept up with the times. I understand for those folks, this is what it is. It's no big deal. But for me, it's a big step. Sharing what I'm learning in the Word, with God knows whoever's out there, for the 3 people that listen to this, but for maybe to be 300,000 people in the future, or 3 million. I mean, this stuff
My
is...
6 family members.
Right.
Shout out.
Shout out to you all, the Georges. Yeah.
I love it.
But it's a big step for me to discuss what I'm learning in Scripture, and to have this discussion with my wife, and to put it out there for whoever wants to listen to it, and whoever can get something from it. This is
I don't know what they're getting today. I think we were all over the place.
We're all over the place. But
that's how
God works through mysterious ways.
I do feel a little bit not all over the place. I do feel lackluster. I feel right now I'm being I'm going through the motion, Christian. I'm definitely not beating the ground. I might just be dragging the stick along, going along, rather than beating the ground. I'm doing something that I know is just, this ain't it for me. This is not a place that I feel comfortable operating in. So that's what have you stopped? What are the things in my life that I stopped striking the ground for? So that was my question to myself, and that's what I'm going to reflect on this week. Where have I stopped striking the ground? You said you don't have nowhere that you stopped striking the ground.
I said to you, we just heard the word. I need to reflect on it. I need to process it.
You good at beating the drum.
Well, maybe that's what I'm called to do.
Beat the drum? You're great at striking the ground.
Drum beater.
You're great at striking the ground.
Maybe I'm great at striking the ground.
You are. You stay disciplined in that regard. Thank you, Lord.
It's funny. It's not funny. It's ironic. I was listening to Les Brown earlier this week. I haven't listened to Les Brown in decades.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive, still going. Apparently, he's on Spotify, and I had.
It's all old.
It's all but it says
content.
it's from 2020, so I get the sense that
maybe
it was dated in 2020. Maybe that's when it aired. Okay. So anyway, it was suggested to me by Spotify. A podcast you may want to listen to, along with Pastor Bernard's podcast. And sorry, Pastor, I don't tune into your podcast. I tune into your message every week.
My pastor's really listening. Come right here. You have to listen. Many are called to grow us up.
Right. But I love your teaching, Pastor Bernard, and I love Bishop Bronner's podcast. That one I check out pretty much every week. But anyway, so I checked out Les Brown, and he said something that ties into this message. And he said, so many people stop living, die at 25. Okay, that's fine.
No,
y'all don't need to see my big head,
no, people
please.
not staying here to look at the side of the big head. It just makes it look bigger. But y'all don't need to. No, Les Brown said.
Yeah, Les Brown said, so many people stop living at 25 and just are waiting to be buried at 65. And what he was talking to is what Pastor Durso was talking to, was you stop dreaming. So his point was your dreams die with you at 25. It could be 30. The ages don't matter, of course. And it ties back into what Bishop Bronner, one of the things Bishop Bronner said, is when you stop dreaming, you basically stop living, right? And
It's
so
living a show.
you live in a show. You need to, that's what fuels us, right? Is to have dreams and hopes and ambitions. This notion that tomorrow is going to be better than today. Like, it doesn't matter what you're going through now, tomorrow can be better. And like you and I stand on that our latter days is better than our former days.
Oh, for sure. I
That
made
each
better
day
decisions
in Christ, yes, is sweeter than the day before. And it's not necessarily always literal, but it's a matter of elevating your perspective on things, right? Because we can't change all of the as we said with God's word, he answers prayers oftentimes with time and with trials. So it's not a matter of whether or not, when Jesus says, keep on asking, keep on seeking, keep on knocking, it's not that God didn't hear you the first time and he needs you to repeat it. Or what was that you said, Denniston? No, it's this idea of, are you going to keep believing in what you're asking for? Do you still really want it? Well, if you still really want it, you got to keep asking. And
not only asking, you have to keep working towards it.
And you got to keep knocking. So that's why he says all three, because seeking is active, right? Asking is just verbalized. Anyone can ask.
Yeah.
But the seeking is active. It moves it from being passive to active, right? You got to go through a lot of things when you're seeking things out, when you're searching for things, when you're going on an expedition, when you're on a journey. And he says to keep on knocking. Knocking takes effort. Your knuckles may get sore. Your knuckles may get bloody during that process of knocking and knocking and knocking and knocking, right?
Yeah, I need to knock.
So, yeah.
Because this performance is no joke. No, for real, babe.
So, why don't you explain what piriformis is?
It's this muscle in your glute.
Okay.
Right. So, I don't know if it's pincha sciatica, whatever. I don't know if the piriformis pincha sciatica or the sciatica pincha piriformis, but it's a pain that you feel in your glutes, and it's, I think, further compounded, but I do have restrictions in my right hip.
For now.
There's my right hip is restricted, and I think what really, you think you're doing everything, or why this message is kind of, I've had this feeling where, man, this is what I don't want for my life, where people have been fit up until a certain point, and then you're fit. As far as fitness, a lot of it for me is for mental and for longevity. Yeah, I do not intend to be sustained by medications.
No.
It's not a lifestyle for me. So always believed in doing my part and asking God. And so at this juncture, where it's three major things, and if I'm gonna get personal, my mom had a hip replacement surgery. That's at the top of my mind. And I don't dare to, and maybe I should see if it's the same right hip. Everything is degenerative, or it flows in your family, your bloodline. I mean, I've just been going through, really, it's a lot. It's like, you're a glaucoma suspect. So you're having this. It's a hole in your retina. You had this hole in your retina done. You had this other stuff done. I've just been through this season where I've been seeing a lot of doctors, it's just been nonstop. My teeth, my what? Like, it's just been a lot. And I haven't been feeling like really healing is the children's bread. I'm feeling like, and at the same time, I'm privileged to be employed and have insurance. Yeah, your copays are your copays for these things, but just have the privilege of being able to get medical attention, and at the same time, I have to balance that with the supernatural, because I'm sorry, doctors know what doctors know, and doctors are still discovering things about the human anatomy. And no one goes into this. And then for Black people, we are not studied to the extent of the others. So there's subtle differences with Blacks in terms of how the even how your is it the iron testing, the blood tests are done in a way in which for Blacks, and I'm not going to be speaking informatively here, where certain things are discounted and certain other things are in terms of the count, how your blood work is reported back to you. And we're nuanced and we're individuals, and there's a lot of stuff where now that you know, there is a bit of a healthy skepticism in terms of the medical community towards, for me personally speaking, as a Black person, when I go in there, are you going to have the cure for me? You might have the cure for someone else, but are you going to have, so I can't really rely on you wholeheartedly, and I've never really relied on you wholeheartedly. So yeah, I don't know. So what it's got into is a lot of discomfort sitting. So right now I'm not even I'm not sitting, I'm on my knees, but I do have some pain in my one knee. This is coming from the sciatica nerve probably being pinched somewhere. That's then leading to that.
You haven't been able to identify.
No.
Is MRI next?
I'm going to go back to the doctor because I've gone through this PT, and the PT is, but from what I've researched, the Google research, it's finding the right stretch. So there are three. So there is the stretch, the adding of the resistance to strengthen that area. Another treatment is Botox in that particular area, and
is the Botox, how durable is the Botox? Is that, would it be an annual, would it be a 6 month?
I don't know, babe. I'm just telling you what the Google said.
Okay, what Dr. Google said?
Yeah, so, but it's more, it's a nuisance kind of thing, where it's like, all right, if I'm getting ready to get into flow work, as you start to sit, then you got to stand up, and you stand up, and it breaks you out of the flow, then you got to sit back down again, and then there's a meeting, and then it's a thing, and so right now I'm just
and as you talk about pain, that was one of the many areas that he landed on, how pain always precedes the birthing of something new. And that, in the delivery room, that, as he said, it's the universal language to push to get the baby or the babies out, if it's more than, triplets, twins, etc. Shout out to the twins. But and that idea of pain, right? And he says, when you're experiencing this pain, the human nature is to stop whatever it is that you're doing, because you're in pain, right? And you're in discomfort, and none of us like pain or discomfort. But man, once again, God has designed a counterintuitive world where the most valuable things to us often require pain. It's birthed through pain. right? Children are birthed through pain.
Living together is
Living together can
is
be
a
painful.
pain.
Yes, marriage has pain points in it, right? Your career, your business, man, life, man. Jesus guaranteed us that, right? He guaranteed us
Okay, but
trials and tribulations.
so you gotta bring this home now.
Yeah, he guaranteed us trials and tribulations, but he didn't leave us there.
Yeah.
He said, but be of good cheer because I have overcome the world. So that's an encouraging message to me, you know? Mm-hmm. And I had a difficult conversation this week where the conversation was about pain. It was about a life that was very, very painful. Mm. And there was a question of why me, you know, and life is unfair. And yeah, it reminded me that
life is unfair.
Life is unfair, but thank you to Jesus, God is just, you know? So yeah, life is unfair, but God is just. And he tells us over and over again in his word through so many different ways that he doesn't give us more than we can stand. He's designed us for the journey, but he's designed us to rely on him because there's an element of it that it is supernatural, where it requires us to give all that we can give and then rely on him to make up the difference.
Okay.
So that's it. We were really all over. We were really long-winded, but I hope that it benefited someone out there and it was good for us to talk about it. So I don't know if you got anything from this, but this is how we do when we have our private conversations.
I don't know. We run 45 minutes long. Like we don't
always run 45 minutes. Sometimes it's short, but sometimes it's longer.
No. So when we do, because like for me, I don't have that long attention
span
to give to you. So
out.
like right now, I'm starting to fade.
Right now, we're gonna wrap this up. So until next time. We don't even have a signing off message.
You don't have a sign on. You don't have a sign off. You just drop in and drop off.
Yeah, right, it's so whatever. Till next time, God bless you. Peace. That's good enough? No. I know it's Bandulu, y'all, but this is what we got right now. What is Bandulu? If you were a Yardie, you'd know. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
Look it up. Look it up in the Yardie dictionary.
The Yardie dictionary? I'm come from Yard. All right, we're gonna close this up because I'm hungry.
God bless you. Peace. Come on, push the button, woman. Push. That's this message.
Babe.
Push.